This is a video response to KingJamesVideoMan. Title of the video I'm responding to is God is One Person, Trinitarian Objections Answered. This video deals with Genesis 1:26, where God says, "Let us make man in our image." And it's a very interesting take that he has here, and I guess I'll go through it. Normally there's four views concerning Genesis 1:26 as I understand it, and those views are as follows. It doesn't really matter what order you put them in, so but this is the order I put them in. The first one would be the Trinity. Second one would be that a plural was used to denote majesty, and third would be a plural was used to show deliberation with self. God was deliberating with himself by using a plural language. Let us make in our image. Number four would be God is speaking to his heavenly court. The view that this gentleman has is completely new to me. I never heard of it until now. It's very interesting, but I think that it's based on false ground. The base of this gentleman's case is based off of a misunderstanding of the word image in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and what they mean. If you read just the English, all you're reading is the word image, and there are several different understandings of how image is used in English. However, if you go and you look at the Hebrew word there for image in Genesis, and then you go look at the Greek word for image in New Testament, you get a completely different picture. In Hebrew, the word there for image is, and I'm probably mispronouncing this, Teslem, T-S-E-L-E-M, Strong 6754. It means representative figure, shade, phantom, or resemblance. Man is made in God's image, but is not an exact image. Shade, phantom, that would be like, think of like a shadow. The way traditionally I understand it, how we're made in God's image is that God is a being of free will, a moral agent, and has cognitive faculties. We also have all that, and that's how we're made in God's image. It has nothing to do with physicality. The claim that this gentleman is making is that the image that we're made in is physical, and that God was referring to his future incarnated self in Jesus. And it's extremely unlikely that the author meant this here, and it just seems like it's a really big stretch. If you look at the word image in the Greek, it is ikon, E-I-K-O-N, Strong's 1504, and it means statue, profile, resemblance, copy. So Jesus being the image of God is basically, you see Jesus, you're seeing a copy of God, or you're seeing the statue of God, or a profile, or basically sort of like imagine a coin with a picture stamped onto it. So when it says that Jesus is an image of God, it's more of an exactness than the way that we are. To see a human being, to see me, is not to see God. So we're not God's image and exactness the way that Jesus is, because Jesus is divine. So I think that's a very false ground to begin your case to show oneness through Genesis 1:26. To say that God lacked an image in Genesis all the way up until the incarnation just seems really silly. I'm pretty sure the Jews have always imagined God and what he's like, because he told them what he was like. So there was always an image. It's not a physical one, but it doesn't have to be physical. And an example of God pointing out that his image is not physical, look at Isaiah 40:18, where he compares physical idols as being not like him, that you can't make something physical that is like him. So therefore his image is not physical. So real quick, I'm going to go through the four other views concerning Genesis 1:26. I'm going to skip the Trinity to the last. So a plural to denote majesty. Interesting, but the grammar doesn't really support this, so a lot of Hebrew scholars reject it. Plural to show deliberation with self. This also lacks a lot of evidence. There's just no reason to really think that that's what's going on here. God speaking to his heavenly court. Well, it's actually well attested in the Old Testament that God speaks to his heavenly court. Examples would be Genesis 3:22, Genesis 11:7, 1 Kings 22:19 through 22, Job 1:6-12, Job 2:1 through 6, Job 38:7, Psalms 89:5 through 6, Isaiah 6:1 through 8, and Daniel 10:12 through 13. Now, the author of Genesis, presumably Moses, it doesn't really matter who the author is, most likely a Jewish person who did not believe in a tri-personal God and who also did not believe in an incarnation, is the one who wrote Genesis. So it is extremely unlikely that the author there meant either the Trinity or the physical incarnation of God manifesting in the flesh. So it is the best answer here is actually God speaking to his heavenly court, and that's that. However, it is true that the New Testament does reveal some hidden truths and mysteries in the Old Testament. A great example would be Isaiah 53. Another one would be Isaiah 7:14, and so on and so forth. And so one could do this with Genesis 1:26. The concept of the Trinity fits perfectly with Genesis 1:26. God is either speaking to his heavenly court or is speaking to persons within himself. The idea that God is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is the same person, and God is saying here that by saying us or our image, he's referring to his current divine self and his future physical incarnated self, doesn't seem really supported by the language of the words image being used in both areas, and also it's a very strange view. It takes quite a stretch to really buy into this. It's a pretty hard sell, I think. So it just doesn't seem to follow at all. The doctrine of the Trinity fits so much better that there's just no reason to adopt at this point. Anyway, this is just part one of your videos, to adopt at this point the oneness view based on Genesis 1:26. That's basically it, and thank you for watching, and God bless.